Welcome to the Project Quarm Getting Started Guide, brought to you by Quarm.guide. In this video, we'll be covering how to create a TAKP forum account, downloading the game client, converting your TAKP client to Quarm, installing Zeal, configuring DG Voodoo 2, launching the game, and some final configuration settings. So let's get started. We're going to start by going to installing the main game. And from here, we're going to have to create a TAKP forum account in order to create a game account. So if we go to this link, it'll bring up this web page here. We're going to start by saying, no, we need to create account. How about that? If we try to sign in, it'll take us to a sign up page. So what we'll do is we'll provide it an email address, a password. We select our gender, our birth date, and it wants a verification. Please answer the question above. What game is this? The game is EverQuest. I'm the type to overthink it. You know, you're asking yourself, is it TAKP? Is it Quarm? What is it? It's EverQuest. You agree to this sign up, and I already have an account. I don't want to fill their servers with dummy accounts. So if you see here, once you sign in, you're going to first click on Game Accounts at the top. And then about halfway down the page, you'll see that you have a forum account created, and you'll be able to create a login server account. Once you do that, it will bring up this kind of pop-up where you can enter in a name, a password, confirm the password, and then you could create the account. Once you do that, the page will then kind of look a little bit more like mine does, where you actually have a game account in the below area, and that will basically be the account that you use to log into Quarm once we set up the game. Okay? Now that we've created this account, we can go ahead and download the game client. So first, what we're going to do is go to the first link here, the Getting Started. This is the TAKP website. We're going to then go to the Getting Started on Windows. And then they recommend you download the 2.2 client. I also provided the link here to kind of speed things up for you. If you want to just go there. It's basically a Google Drive. We're going to hit download, and we're going to download this anyways. However, I'm going to cancel mine because I've already downloaded it and it takes a minute. So on to the next step. Once we've downloaded it, we're probably going to want to extract those files and do that before we download the eqclient.ini. There, I couldn't stand the bright screen anymore. So from here, we have our TAKP PC v2.2. We're just going to extract those files here. And it's going to take a minute, and it's almost done. And then we'll have our game folder that we'll be using from this point forward. Next, we want to convert your TAKP client to Quarm. So the first thing you want to do is join the Project Quarm Discord. When you click this link, it's going to open up your Discord and ask you to join their server. I've already joined. Let me drag that over here. So here's their Project Quarm. The next up is, once we're a part of their server, we want to download the eqgame DLL file. Now, the server's a little bit fragmented on how they organize files. So usually you'll find the most stable one in the server files section. However, Secrets has put one under Zeal discussions that I prefer to use. They said that there's some more bug fixes in it, and one in particular that I think we really want to use, particularly for the no FPS limiter that we'll see later on. So we're going to download this file, and it's going to download that to my folder as well. we will go back to the guide. And here is that file that we just downloaded. We'll extract this here. And we have our EQ game DLL. I'm going to just drag it into that folder. You can see that it's going to ask us to override this file because this file here from October 7th, 2022 is actually the TAKP version to get into their servers most likely. So we want the one that we just downloaded, obviously. Okay. You know, we'll just leave that there for now. Next, we want to install Zeal. So Zeal is an add-on that the community created in order to bring a lot of features that were missing from the game client into the game quicker than that a new client would take to create or any of that stuff. So we're going to first make sure that prerequisite one, make sure sound is true in eqclient.ini. Now, we haven't really done anything with this folder yet, so we have kind of a default configuration. So sound is already true. This is mainly for people who have already been using the game and maybe they changed this attribute at some point. So we're going to close this for now. Next up, we're going to exclude this from your TAKP installation. So what we need to do is we need to exclude the TAKP folder, this one here, from your antivirus. And the reason we're doing that, we're going to scroll down here real quick, is because this piece of software is still being made. It's not really finalized yet. And the way that Zeal works, you can see the explanation here. It's basically using code injection to inject into the game's sound engine a bunch of new code that enables a bunch of features, right? And that is going to look like malware or a virus to your antivirus program because that's what those things do as well. The difference is a lot of programs that do something like this, they're usually signed with a digital signature that was purchased from a trusted source so that your operating system, your antivirus knows that that piece of software is trusted and safe to do that type of behavior. Zeal just has not gotten to that point yet, so they haven't gone and purchased a certificate yet from Microsoft to sign that file. They do plan on doing that in the future, but we're just not there yet. So we're going to start up top here by going to my settings. I'm using Windows 11. Yours might look a little bit different. So we go to Security, Windows Security. I'm going to go to my Virus and Threat Protection. And I'm going to manage my settings. Down here at the bottom, we're going to add or remove exclusions. And I'm going to exclude this folder like so. We can see it right here. I'm kind of a pain in the butt, so I also like to do the eqgame.exe separately. Don't ask me why, but it's already done. So we're going to close those. The next step down here is to download and extract Zeal ASI to your TAKP folder. So we can do that by going to the release section of their repository on GitHub. So we're going to copy this link and open up our web browser. And when you paste that in, it brings us to the release section of the repository. Now, I mentioned that I'm a pain in the butt. Whenever you go to GitHub for pretty much anything, I want you to be aware that a mistake a lot of people make real quick is that they're seeing all these files. They think, oh, well, do I have to go here and download it? No. You want the release section. That's why we gave you the link directly to it right here. So you go to releases. It says here that you go to assets. We tree that out, and you're going to download whatever the latest zeal.zip is. So what we're going to do is copy and save link as. We're going to save this directly into our TAKP folder. Now, in here, I don't want to clutter things up too much, so I'm going to add a new folder, call it backup. And I'm going to save zeal.zip to this backup folder within my TAKP folder here. Okay, so now we can go back to working on our folders. If I go into that backup folder, we have zeal.asi. I'm going to extract this here. And when I do that, you'll see that we have two things. We have zeal.asi. This is the main file. We want to place this into our TAKP folder. And then we also have a UI files. Now, what it says here down below is that, so you have a default UI file. That's kind of the one built into EverQuest. And then you have a default to projectquarm, which is Duxa UI. Zeal has a lot of features that they also built into the options menu, for example. A lot of toggles for those features. Not every single Zeal feature or Zeal add-on is displayed as a UI file in this particular zip file. So there's things that are missing, like exp per hour, your mana values. Those aren't going to be in any of these particular files. So in order to get those, you're going to need to download a third-party user interface that we can cover in another video. But for now, these two files are going to go into your Duxa UI so that at least you have something at a base value to control some of these features. So I'm going to get these files. I'm going to paste these directly into my TAKP v2.2 folder. And real quick, I just want to show you that we have zeal.asi right here. So always make sure that if you're ever in the game, you type Zeal version or help Zeal. If those aren't working, make sure this file is here. We did exclude it, but you never know. You might be using a different type of antivirus, right? Next up, we want to tackle dgvoodoo2. dgvoodoo2 is a program that is also a number of DLL files that are an implementation of old graphics APIs for Windows 7 and later versions. So what we want to do is we want to download dgvoodoo2. We can get that right here, and we're going to download this right to our downloads folder. And what it says here is to extract dgvoodoo cpl.exe. So we're going to get that file, copy it, and paste it right into our TAKP folder. Next, it wants us to get these 4 DLL files from ms.x86. These are the 32-bit files. So we are going to go there, copy these. We are most definitely going to have to overwrite some files. And then that's done. Next, we're going to sort by date modified and run the program. More info, and then we're going to run anyways. Let's see. Because we dropped this right into the folder, we don't really need to hit this button. It's not going to do anything. We're already in that particular folder. We want to go under adapters and select our graphics card. You see I have more than one. So I'm going to select my main video card. We're going to select windowed mode. We don't need to change anything else here. Navigate to DirectX, change our VRAM to something more appropriate to your video card. Mine has more than this, so I'm just going to choose the maximum here. And then it says to uncheck the watermark. I'm going to hit apply and OK. So now we're done with that. Next up, let's go back up here. Next, we're going to tackle a couple things that we found on the TAKP website to fix any errors that you might find. Before I do that real quick, I'm going to go back into backup. I'm going to create a new folder here. Oh, I made a mistake. Look at that. I moved Zeal.zip here and overwrite those files instead of moving the folder over here. Oopsie. Well, too bad. So we're going to paste that back here where it belongs. The reason we're doing this is because as Zeal advances, they're going to have new versions, and they might delete some of their older versions, and maybe the newer versions have some bugs in them that you don't like. So you want to be able to go back to some older versions. That's why there's that big backup warning at the top of the guide. So next up, we're going to download this Visual C runtime. They want you to download the 32-bit version. So we're going to download the x86. Chances are your computer is modern and is going to have something like this already installed. So when I click on this and I agree to it, it's going to give me an error and say another version of the product is already installed. So we don't really have to worry about that. These are just, you know, just in case you do run into errors. We're going to take care of these beforehand. We're going to do this DirectX 9, download this here. The reason we created that extra folder in there was because I remember running this, and it wants you to extract these files somewhere. So what we're going to do is give it a place to put them. So we're going to go there, and somewhere around here is this DX setup. Agree. We're going to install it. It's going to take 2 seconds. I've already done this, so it's just really overwriting the files. And it's done. Okay, now we don't have to worry about that, and we can delete that folder. Next is we're going to set compatibility. So some people have had problems in game. A couple of the recommendations from TAKP, one of which was to run this game in compatibility mode for Service Pack 2. So another thing that they also recommended was if you're having problems with crashes, also try running this program as administrator. Now, your mileage is going to vary. I had problems when I enabled this. My Mule account disconnected from the game 3 different times, and the game was just closed mysteriously. I went back in, removed this option, and it just started working fine. So if you turn it on and you don't have problems anymore, then you know that the fix worked, whatever. Okay. And that is about it. The final thing we need to do is launch the game. So when we do that, we're going to hit OK. I agree. We just select whatever one it already landed on. I don't think that's your actual video cards. I think that's all the different monitors I have attached to the video card. Next up is your Looklin models. Now, if you uncheck these, it will change those values in your eqclient.ini. So I imagine the ones on the next screen do as well, but we're going to skip those. A lot of people don't like these models, which is why I'm turning them off now. It's a lot of different options to try to change in your ini. So if you want to leave them on, go ahead and leave them on. Next, on this screen, I don't want to change anything. And we hit OK. Now, I'm going to connect to the game. Actually, before we do that, let's exit out real quick. I know I'm tired of re-recording this video, so we're going to do this live. What I want to do is go into my eqclient.ini first. There's some things I want to change, and I believe I can change them now. So let's just go through this really quick. We can see that all my Looklin models are off. Texture caching is false. Attack on assist, I want false. That's for me because I'm a caster. Combat music, false. It is loud and annoying and nobody likes it. UI skin equals default. Now, when I changed this to a different user interface, it didn't work for me, so I'm going to leave that alone. You can see we have two different entries here for all Looklin models are off, false, and then we have the Looklin models are off. So this one doesn't seem to do anything if this one overrides it. Channel auto join, you can always change this to whatever channel you want to join. They did implement this in one of the DLL files, so it does work. I just don't know that people are using the feature too much anymore. You can use the brown skeleton hack, or you can use one of the texture packs that are on or linked off of quarm.guide as well. So that's up to you. What we also want to do here is enable extended nameplane distance true. Back in October, whenever you saw people's nameplates, they would vanish with not very far away. So they implemented a fix here for that. We're going to change our width and height to 1920 by 1080, which is my, oops. 1080, my desktop's resolution. We can see my refresh rate is 60 here. We want that to match our desktop's refresh rate. I'm going to scroll way down to the bottom. And down below here, I want to change my max background FPS to 60 as well. And then the most important thing here is no FPS limiter 1. We want to change this to 0 and hit save. This is really important because back in October, there was a lot of problems with third-person camera view. And when you moved around, there was a lot of jitter and stuff, and Zeal fixed part of it, and some of the DLLs fixed another part of it by fixing that one attribute. So we're going to launch the game again. Now it should look a little bit more normal, where we accept the EULA, we connect, we are going to log in. Because this was the first time, when you come in here, it's going to show you this little news thing. Once you hit OK, I've never seen news again. And then from this screen, we can select Project Quarm server. This is extremely loud for me, but I turned it down in the recording, and we're going to log in. Close some of these windows, and now that I can hear again, here we are logged into the game. I'm going to hold Alt and hit O to open up my options. As you can see, this is the very default UI. This is the new user interface because we have that selected in the eqclient.ini. We want to load our Duxa UI because this is just kind of the default one. You can see it comes with a number of different ones here, but we want to load Duxa because we added those UI files into it. Now I'm going to hit Alt-O again. You can see we have a Zeal tab. So from here, I want to change some of these options. The field of view is new today. It is a little extreme for me, so I'm not going to mess with that too much. I like to change my third-person views and my first-person views down to about 0.3, close as I can get it. Pan delay. What pan delay does is when you scroll outward with your mouse wheel, and you're in third person, you can right click and you can move your camera around. Pan delay is when you left click, you can then move the camera instead of moving the character. What this does is this gives it a little bit of a delay so that you don't accidentally perform this action when you're just trying to left click things. Okay, we can turn some other things on here. Next, what I want to do is I want to go to key bindings. I want to go to commands. And I want to show you that Zeal has added the toggle all containers button. So I'm going to hit that to B. We can go to movement up here because we have things like strafe left and right. You have slow turn left and right if you want to use those. Normally what I do is I just change this to W, S, D, and A. Duck I do C. It doesn't really matter what my preferences are. Under target, we want to go to tab targeting. So one of the other problems that we had back in October was tab targeting doesn't work too well, but Zeal kind of fixed that, right? So we're going to go to where my tab target is currently, and I'm going to escape that out. And then I'm going to go to cycle through nearest NPCs and bind that to tab. Finally, because we turned this blue con on, we're going to go to colors and we're going to go down to blue con. Now, normally when you con a monster and it cons dark blue, it's going to be this dark blue color. And having that color down here is going to look like this, and you really can't read that, right? So what they did was they rebound it to something else so that you can then kind of brighten this up a little bit to something that's dark blue, but not quite light blue. Okay. That's about it to do. You now have a fully functional game client that is hopefully all the recommended settings and stability things to do so that you don't crash when you zone in and do your gaming things, okay? So thank you very much for watching. If you experience any random crashes or have some sort of strange scenario going on, there is a FAQ at the bottom of the guide and links to where you can find additional help. The goal of the video was to get you a stable Quarm client. So if this video does not meet those requirements any longer, this video will be replaced with a new one. I'll be covering other topics such as user interface and log files in the next video. Thank you for using Quarm.guide. I have been Xanax. Please be safe.